Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and this week we have a lot to talk about. Apple released iOS 17.5 with a major bug, iOS 18 has some more features we're hearing about, and we're even hearing about a newer, higher-end iPhone 17. This is your weekly Apple News update for the week of May 21st, 2024. Now, the first thing is, yesterday, Apple quickly resolved the deleted photos bug with iOS 17.5.1. They brought out this patch, I made a separate video on it, and they quickly patched the issue where photos that you deleted in the past could reappear, saying it was a database issue. They haven't given us really any more detail than that. I would love to hear more than that, but it seems like they had an issue. They fixed it very quickly, so that's great to see. There's also another bug that seems to be cropping up with the new iPad. Now, I've only heard of this from one person, but I thought I'd reach out to many of you and see if you're having the issue. With the new iPad, with the Apple Pencil Pro, I had one friend, Bram, who actually connected it, and you'll see it says, "What's new?" I actually just had it reconnect on its own. So there's something odd when it comes to iOS 17.5.1 and iPadOS 17.5.1. Bram in particular was unable to get it to pair properly once it disconnected. So it disconnected on him, and here it just sort of left the Apple spinning, or the Apple Pencil spinning there at the top, and never connected. There's no fix for this, and thankfully I haven't experienced it. Most of you have not, but if you have, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Now, Apple Vision Pro has yet to launch anywhere except the United States. While it's sort of only been out a couple months, Apple is getting ready to get it launched in different places, including Canada and the UK next, it seems, possibly Singapore, and we've even seen it pop up in Chinese regulatory databases. Vision Pro may also soon launch in Australia, Germany, Japan, and South Korea. So it looks like the launch is coming pretty soon. Whether or not it's before WWDC, though, is hard to say. Maybe they'll make that announcement there. Apple Pay is launched in Japan with Apple Pay Tap to Pay. They announced this yesterday on the Apple Newsroom website in Japan, so if you want to use this to tap to pay to another iPhone, that's rolling out there. And in the Apple Newsroom today in the United States, Apple actually announced the Navigo card for transit can now be added to Apple Wallet to be used in France. So you can use it on a metro, train, bus, and more in Paris, it says. So that's something that's rolling out right now. I'd love to hear from you if it's actually working for you. Apple had a rough year in sales within China as buyers have so many other options and competition from people such as Huawei and Xiaomi for different high-end phones. Apple has further discounted iPhones to try and boost those sales within China, up to about $300 or more for some of the new iPhones. So we'll see if that makes a difference, or maybe we'll just need a full redesign before more people are interested. It seems like we're sort of at a saturation point. iPhones are very much similar from year to year, and they've just reached a maturity level, so it's going to take some clever thinking or changing or new innovative features to really change it up. Now, if you just picked up a new iPad Pro, there seems to be another issue with it when viewing HDR. iMore reported on this, where some of the blue pixels seem to be overly bright and appear white for some. Apple actually told iMore they're aware of the issue and they're working on a fix for it, but they haven't said what version. They also didn't fix it in iPadOS 17.5.1, or they haven't mentioned it at all. So that's something that some people are seeing. Thankfully, I haven't seen it, but I know others are having this. There seems to be a growing number of people recently experiencing odd lockups, freezes, and system crash reboots on M1 Max and M1 Ultra based Macs. I personally have had this happen on my M1 Ultra Studio, and the Mac Studio will just sometimes lock up while I'm editing in Final Cut Pro. I'm just using it for regular things, whether that's Safari or maybe editing a thumbnail for a video like this one. Sometimes it will just freeze and then sometimes hard reboot on its own. This happened with macOS 14.4.1, 14.5. It doesn't matter what version you're on, just the last few versions, even some that are still on macOS 14 version 0 are having this issue. So something's going on with the processor causing a hard reboot or a lockup. It may be just an oversight, but I'm hearing it more and more. Now, if you need to keep your MacBook charged, that's where today's sponsor comes in, Anker. This is the latest Anker 3-in-1 power bank, and these are actually really nice because they include a built-in USB-C cable. It allows for two-way charging, so you can charge your device or charge the power bank with this cable, and it will charge up to 30 watts. So if you don't want to carry a cable with you, you'll see it has a little hook here to keep it from sort of pulling out of the side of it and keeps it secure. If we plug it in, it will charge up to 30 watts, and then you can charge another device here, and this has a 10,000 milliamp hour battery in it. So it actually holds a lot of charge, will charge your device, and then when you need to plug it into the wall, you just flip down the AC adapter, plug it in, and you can leave it plugged in and charging your device as well. And here's the smaller version that will also charge at 30 watts, has an additional port, and the cable that will also connect directly to whatever device you want to charge, and is good for up to 10,000 bends without any fraying or any problems. Again, be sure to check them out in the description below, and thanks to Anchor for sponsoring this video. As far as discounts this week, well, there's $100 off the AirPods Max, so if you've been wanting to pick up a pair of those, I'll link them in the description. There's also up to $200 off the M1 iPad Air, and the latest iPads with the M4 processor in them are even up to $50 off on Amazon, sold directly by Apple. There's also discounts on the latest Macs. I'll link them all in the description if you want to check them out yourself. Now, with updates this week, we've already seen iOS 17.5.1 to patch that issue, along with iPadOS 17.5.1, and today Apple released tvOS 17.5.1. So that's available to the public right now. If you wanted the update for Apple TV, it's there. Just looks like it's a bug fix to go along with it. However, I do expect iOS 17.6 Beta 1 this week, probably as soon as tomorrow. I thought it would be today, but at this point it looks like it will be tomorrow, possibly later in the week, or Apple could be changing this up entirely and just sort of holding off and focusing all their attention on iOS 18. We expect to see that in just a few weeks on June 10th after WWDC will get Beta 1. So that's typically what we'll see with all of the latest features and changes. But usually Apple will work on iOS 17 alongside the next version all the way until September, where they announce and release the next iPhones and release the next version of iOS just before that. So if they do what they've done every year, that's what you can expect this time around. And as far as iOS 18, well, we know Apple is working on integrating AI into much of their products, and with iOS 18, it seems Siri will be a larger focus. According to Mark Gurman this past weekend, Siri on iOS 18 will use what Apple calls proactive intelligence to help you with daily tasks. So Siri will be more conversational as well compared to what we currently have. So similar to maybe what ChatGPT does or something along those lines. We don't know exactly all the details, but we do expect that, and it'll be the largest update we've ever seen with iPhone or iOS, according to Mark Gurman and what he says sources say with inside Apple. So we don't know exactly all the details, but we do expect some big updates with a heavy focus on AI. Hopefully some sort of redesign and something that just looks a little different than what we've had for many years. Now, we're also hearing news about iPhone 17, and this is a little bit bigger news than I expected. Originally, we heard that Apple would sort of replace the iPhone 16 Plus models this year with iPhone 17 Ultra, or something higher end than what we have with the Pro and Pro Max. This would be a slimmer version that would be even thinner than what we currently have, but possibly have a lesser sized battery, but higher end specs and materials. We don't know all the details, but supposedly it will have a higher price, of course, have a smaller dynamic island, and be around 6.5 inches as far as the display goes. So we don't know much more than that, but Apple does work on designs about 3 years out, so it makes sense that some of these are sort of leaking out at this point. Now, the iPhone 16 is nearing production, and this week, according to Ming Chi Kuo on X or Twitter, and this is just a dummy model that represents what it will actually look like for the regular iPhone 16 and iPhone 16 Plus, it seems the iPhone 16 Pro models will have different colors as usual, and we'll see something along the lines of black, silver, or white, natural titanium, and instead of blue this year, we'll have that be replaced with a rose titanium. So apparently they're going to get rid of this. Natural titanium was the most popular. It makes sense to maybe replace it with something else they think will be popular. Ming Chi Kuo also said that iPhone 16 will have black, green, pink like this one, blue and white colors, where the 16 Plus model will have similar colors, but also add the color yellow. That would take the place of white. So it looks like they could be changing it up just a little bit from model to model. The display production is set to begin in June, according to Ross Young, who has a very good track record for reporting on displays and sort of when they're going to be produced and what they're going to be. So we can expect those displays to go into production soon, with the iPhones following soon after that. Apple has to get tens of millions ready for launch, so it makes sense that it takes months to do that. The iPhone 16 Pro models previously had a report of increased battery life, and again, Ming Chi Kuo is backing this up, saying that the overall battery density of the cells themselves will be increased. The battery is expected to be encased in a stainless steel to help get rid of heat, and maybe we'll even get faster charging if Apple can get rid of that heat more efficiently. He posted this on his Medium website. You can see here where there's some benefits of sort of the new battery and the technology they're using. So I'll link that in the description if you want to check it out. The next iPhone SE 4th generation is expected at least sometime in the near future, and we hear it's going to look more like the iPhone 14. We've heard this over and over. It makes sense that maybe they'd get rid of one of the cameras, keep the dynamic island, and keep sort of an OLED display, but use a similar chassis that they've had for quite some time. It looks like the latest release is going to be in spring 2025, according to the most recent rumors. Also today, a leaker by the name of Revengeous claims that the iPhone SE price will stay at $429 or $499 at the most to start. So a couple days ago, they leaked that information. It seems like that's on track, but again, we still haven't heard anything officially from Apple. Apple continues to work on AirTags, and it looks like they're working on an updated version according to Mark Gurman in his Power On newsletter. The second generation AirTag is expected to improve tracking and have an updated chipset inside. Maybe that will give it a little bit better battery life. I would love to see a rechargeable battery where you just place it on a dock or something like that, but otherwise, there's not much to do here. And when it comes to Mac, while Apple has already pushed the M4 chipset to this latest iPad Pro, Apple has not yet updated the Mac Studio or Mac Pro with the newer chips. According to Mark Gurman this week, Apple will not be updating those until mid-2025. This is a bit of a shame if you have a Mac Studio or you've been wanting to buy one, since they only have the M2 chipsets in them. So no M4 this year, it looks like, unless something else changes, but it looks like that will be sometime mid-next year, about a year from now. And so that's everything this week with all the news, lots of updates. Of course, we're still looking for iOS 17.6 betas, and of course, iOS 18 at WWDC 2024 in a few weeks. That's where all of the big changes should be shown, along with iPadOS, macOS, and much more. Now, I'd love to hear from you what you're looking most forward to in the comments below, and of course, if you'd like to get your hands on this wallpaper, I'll link it in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already, though, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.